Hello listeners, you're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I am Satyal.
And I'm Silwal, and we are a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations and stories.
Before we start our 31st episode, we were just wanting to say thanks to Rishabh Kakurel for writing to us and telling us that he loves our show, and he talked about how we've inspired him to read Tuesdays with Maury, and he asked us about what other book we could recommend to him.
What did you recommend?
The first thing that came to my head was Siddhartha. Satyal, do you have any books that you want to recommend?
I would recommend Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, but I think you should read Siddhartha first.
Okay.
Also, a big thank you to, I just want to step in and express my gratitude to Roshna Thapa, who also wrote to me. She said she's been reading all the essays that I've been writing so far, and that really means a lot to me. And thank you for that. And I think it's a great gesture because I want to share something that happened this week. I also wrote to one of my favorite YouTube stars, and he was adding a lot of, his name is Anthony Ongaro. He runs his channel called Break the Twitch. And I wrote to him and I just said thank you because I had seen him growing from 3,000 subscribers to 8,500 subscribers. And he wrote back to me after a couple of days, thanked me for writing to him. He asked me if I was alright because he had heard about the earthquake and he wanted to come to Nepal sometime soon. Asked if we could hang out sometime, and that meant a lot to me. So you write to us, we write to other people. I think that's the give and take that we do, and that's fantastic. Alright, so Silva, what do we have for today?
Alright, today the episodes that we have done so far, the 30 episodes that we have done so far, some of you might think that we're too pro in talking about greener pastures abroad, and like the episode we did if we were to go out, and the episode with Prince, the first episode we talked about Australia and everything. So we don't want to seem like these people who are just talking about abroad. We want to bring Nepal into the conversation, because many a times we've seen that the 9-to-5 job that people are holding and the work that they're doing here is undervalued by some of the other things that are happening around the world, and we just wanted to bring this guest. So he is our good friend Amul Baidya. Welcome to the show. Now, let me introduce him. He's the inbound marketing officer of Janaki Technology Private Limited. He's also a team member of the Storytellers Nepal, and he's also doing his morning MBAs. And if you don't know, he loves making momos.
He does? I didn't know that.
I used
about
to.
You. He's like too busy right now because he's doing a lot of these things. Okay, Amul, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
To start the conversation, I think this is how you know Amul if you haven't met him personally. If you're a regular listener of our show, there was this one episode where we'd randomly call people and ask if they had done, when was the last time they did something for the first time. So this gentleman right here was in a team meeting and I called him up and...
Yeah, my boss was beside me.
And to fair play to him, he didn't just cut down my phone call. He just said that it was paragliding. Kudos to you for playing along.
Yeah, I still hate you guys for that.
But we love you and thanks for being here. So just to start the conversation, Amul, we introduced you firstly as an inbound marketing officer at Janaki Technology, which is an example of a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
Before we introduced you as a team member at the Storytellers,
which is a more entrepreneurial
venture something like that. Yeah. Do you mind that?
Not really, but yes, I would love to be introduced first as a team member, just because I was in the Storytellers first.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I joined the job after I joined the Storytellers. So not because of the glorifying entrepreneurial stuff,
which is happening.
Yeah,
right
exactly. Just because of the chronological aspect.
Okay, but you seem to think differently than most young generation out in Nepal who seem to glorify entrepreneurship a lot more than a 9-to-5. Silwal and I were having this conversation and we think that the 9-to-5 job has somehow been looked down upon. Why is this happening?
I think it's because of the glorification of the term entrepreneurship and the fashion behind it, especially due to the use of the social medias. You see people, doing stuff and being an entrepreneur and posting on Facebook and Twitter and everything, and you tend to generalize stuff that this is what I want to be in life, without even thinking from behind the picture. How does entrepreneurship develop? There are other aspects. There are other fields as well besides entrepreneurship. I think this is because of the growing glorification of the very term entrepreneurship.
Silwal, you personally have been involved with the Gorkha project with Miss Nepal Lakshmi Shrestha, a good friend. And that's kind of like an entrepreneurial thing because you're doing everything from scratch on your own. how has that experience been like for you, and just in context with the conversation that we're having?
It's so difficult. Right from gathering money to thinking about, all the social media posts to meeting people. And kudos to Ashmi for, while preparing herself for Miss World, she's also doing this. And this is probably the biggest project that any Miss Nepal has ever done. I might be factually correct here, right? And people think it's easy because at the end of the day, we just show the highlights, the good sides of this venture that we're involved in. But many a times, it's so difficult. The risk that we are taking, many a times we don't look at, the risk that the other person is taking while they're in an entrepreneurial position. And that is so difficult, What about you, Satya?
Yeah, I've personally been a part of a few entrepreneurial ventures, most notably when I was in 2012 when I was running Maidan Futsal, and I was working with these friends, and it's such a difficult thing when you're working with people and you're very young, you don't have prior experience. When I look back on the things that I did then, and I look back, I'm so much more experienced now, and I could have avoided a lot of those mistakes. It was a first-hand experience, and not everyone would be as lucky as I was with my family supporting for the seed capital and investment and everything. Right? But throwing this back to Amul again, you've been part of Storytellers that's more entrepreneurial, but you're also doing a job. What are some notable differences that you've found while trying to juggle between these two sets of works?
To be honest with you, yes, while doing entrepreneurial stuff, you tend to enjoy more because that is your own baby, right? So you are there from the scratch, from the start, from the very beginning, from the very investment. You are there, and you want it to grow. You want it to grow, right? And from a job point of view,
it is the boss's child.
Yeah, exactly. It's the boss child. You may not be emotionally involved like the boss would be, but I think the main difference is that. But from my point of view, I think the important point here is to learn, right? So you need to learn from people as much as you can from early stage of life. There's this thing that people say that you don't want to work on the other people.
Definitely, I've been hearing that a lot.
That is the main difference. I think that people, if you ask any people who doesn't want to do job and they ask them why, the first answer would be, I don't want to work on the other people.
Yeah, other people. Yeah,
exactly. That is I think that's a shitty attitude. if I can say that.
From how I see it is, you can afford to do that if you have resources that you're willing to let go of if things don't work out.
No. From my point of view, I think even if you have the resources, the attitude is not good.
Attitude, yeah, definitely.
The main point is attitude.
Yeah, I've seen a few statuses of juniors writing, I don't want to work under anyone, I have this own thing. But 6 months on, if you follow up on their work, they're probably wanting a job so bad because the financial stability and everything is not there.
And I'm sorry if I'm generalizing, but these are the kind of juniors who will go abroad and work under someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And at that time, I'm working under someone does not apply.
Yeah, why? So that's a fabulous point that you make there, Silwal. So why is it so bad to do a 9 to 5 in Nepal? I'm sure there are people we can think of who are perfectly fine doing that, earning lots of money, are happy with their life and achieving great stability.
Yeah. We have a friend, I think you guys know them, he as well, Utsav Gautam.
Yeah.
So it was in our class, our teacher asked, who wants to have their own business and who doesn't want to have their own business, right? So the first question was, who want to have your own business?
Right.
So out of 30 of the students, half of them raised their hand, half didn't, and half raised semi hand. Maybe or maybe not.
Yeah.
So the second question was, who do you don't want to have that business? And that guy was the only one who raised his hand with the full confidence.
I want to know the answer.
Yeah.
What was the reasons behind it?
No, because he wanted to, he has no problem doing that. He wants a career in bank. He wants to have a great banking career, and he's doing it. He's very happy about it.
Yeah.
When you talk about banking, he'll be the first one to talk about the banking. He's so passionate about that.
Right.
And we tend to avoid that passion.
Right.
Of a person doing a 9 to 5 job. And we glorify the other passion, of doing an entrepreneurial stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because when I think of passion, it does not necessarily have to be something entrepreneurial.
Yeah, exactly.
You might be a passionate teacher. You don't necessarily have to own a school.
Exactly.
You can juggle between 2 or 3 schools, but you know that at the end of the day, you are impacting people and their lives through your passion for teaching. And I think that is perfectly fine. You can be a passionate writer and not own a magazine. So also, what are, according to you, are some reasons to not write off the 9 to 5 job?
The first thing is stability. Many a times we come from humble backgrounds, right? I don't think Nepalese people are the richest people in the world who can just go out and be like, I'm gonna spend this much money on a startup. First thing is stability. You need to look after your family. The second thing is, as you talked about, there's passion, like in Utsav, who wanted to do something in banking, and that I think it comes down to risk as well. Some people are more risk taking. They want to take that risk. They have some capital. They might not have some capital, but they want to try that hand out. And I'm not coming up with a lot of ideas, but I think these are the two things that I think why.
And the best thing to do this is to throw it to the guest. That's why we have a guest.
Exactly.
Right? So what do you think would be some reasons?
First thing is, like, from my point of view, right, from my experience, why I first joined a 9-to-5 job, a particular 9-to-5 job, is because I wanted to learn. You want, understand other people unless you work for others. So you're talking about having an entrepreneur, having business in future, right? So if you don't know how to deal with your staff members, what to talk with them, what not to talk with them, the company culture and the values that we study in bachelor's.
Right.
So that is one good experience. You learn so much about the people around you. That's the first thing. And second is, you can save capitals for future. From my point of view, from my perspective, I don't want to ask money from my parents. I'm in that stage of my life that I really don't want to ask money. Even it's 5,000 or 10,000 or 1 lakh, right? So what I'm doing right now is my saving money for future. So that would be a perspective, a future perspective for my entrepreneurial ventures. So that is, you learn so much, you gain capital, you learn about people, you have a mentor. You not only get salary, but you also get a mentorship, and that is the two most important thing.
I just want to add one thing. Some people, I'm not saying in a negative sense, but some people don't have the skills that let them afford to go into this entrepreneurial side. If you lack those skills, as you said it, you might go to a 9-to-5 job, learn the things, and maybe apply it in the future if you've experienced enough things and learned the valuable things that are out there.
Yeah, I'll just add a very simple equation, and I think that will make a lot more sense. If everyone was an entrepreneur, who would they employ?
Yeah.
The economy would not work that way. But just want to flip it a bit and just make it more interesting. I understand why some people want to just experiment right from the start to be an entrepreneur, because don't you think the propensity to take risks goes down as you age? You might tell me, give me examples of KFC and whatnot, but in Nepalese context, specifically in Nepalese context.
I think, Dheeraj sir of ACE, right?
Yeah.
When I had a discussion with him, he told me that as you study MBA, there's less chance of you starting an entrepreneurial business, because you have read about all the risks that are there, and that actually demotivates a lot of students. And that's what he said. Maybe that is true in some sense. So that's the first thing that comes to my head.
Okay, Amul, you are doing MBA.
Yeah.
Do you think this has had any effect on the way you look at things?
I completely disagree with what Ashish said to me. I don't think that MBA is like an orientation. What you should not do, what you should do. But it's like how you take on from it. There are so many things, the negative points, the positive points. It depends upon what you take and what you don't take. So MBA, I really don't believe in that. Risk taking, actually, my risk taking has increased. Even if it's small or big, or the little encouragement. I think the courage has been growing while doing my MBA. The studies, the theories, that what should I not do. So it has increased my confidence, as at least I know what should it not be done.
Yeah, because you're learning all the variables. Not all the variables, but a lot of variables of what does not work and what works.
Exactly.
We started this conversation talking about how the 95 is disrespected in Nepal.
Yes.
Let us try to find some reasons as to why that notion is wrong and why we should respect this a lot more.
One thing I really need to talk about is, if you don't respect 9-to-5 job, how are you gonna respect your mom and dad? Because they are the very same person who did the 9-to-5 job, but he educated you, and talking about you have a very bad attitude towards 9-to-5 job. So for me,
Good
having good respect is like having your parents doing 9 to 5 work
Right.
and earning for you and educating you, and having that shitty attitude. I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely, and not just your parents, right?
Yeah,
Somebody
exactly.
else. You had this example that you're
Yeah,
talking about.
exactly. I was in a meeting I was about to have this meeting. It was in Sano team at that SLC office, and I was just sitting there waiting for my appointment, and there was this guy around 55 years. I guess he was around 55 years, all grey hair, and he was wearing the typical, government dress, blue pant, white shirt. And I was looking at him, and he was drinking his tea, and I felt like, what about these people? We glorify, entrepreneurs. We write about them. We share articles, Business Insiders, TED Talks.
Yeah.
But what about those people who've been working the entire bloody life, 30, 35 years, working 9 to 5 job just to educate their family and the children, earn some bread and butter for the family.
True.
Why do not we respect such kind of people?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I think we need to respect that more. Unless you respect those people, you won't be able to learn from anybody.
Yeah, true. So, what do you have to add?
If you want to start an entrepreneurial journey, you start from the very beginning. You're founding a company, and then you have to go through hoops and bounds to reach a success. If you already go inside a established company, right? It's a perfect career ladder for you. You start from lower management, and then one day you're going to reach the upper management, the senior level. And we talk about instant gratification. Everyone wants to get famous and successful quickly, but the successful people, the bankers, the CEOs of different companies, they've put in hard work, the 9 to 5 work for years and years, and that's a wonderful way to get about.
Yeah, to conclude what you guys are saying, I have 2 reasons. One, nowadays both the husband and wife are working, so both of them are doing jobs and they're perfectly happy. Both of them are contributing, right? Second reason is, if you don't respect jobs, you're not respecting people who do government jobs. So imagine if all the government employees turned out to be entrepreneurs, the government will simply collapse. That's another equation that I just thought of.
Just talking about government, stability in your old age. You're getting
pension,
and at the end of the day, it's stability, and it gives. And the thing is, 9 to 5 job, you're putting in hard work for your country, and you're trying to make it better. Let's not go into the political situation and bribery that's out there, but some people are really working hard for it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so Amul, thank you for helping us take this message out to our listeners to respect the 95.
More party!
All right, people. So again, that's not a prescriptive podcast.
Yeah,
if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're fine to do that. But please don't disrespect anyone who's doing a 9 to 5. And it's vice versa as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Just want to say, if you guys, we're doing this project in Gorkha, and if you have any supplies that you want to donate to the school, school equipments, the links are in the description down below.
We'll be back again next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube and on SoundCloud. And one last thing.
It's never too late to get a job.